Welcome to the Zesty Ginger Podcast. We are Megan and Dr. Alex. We are here for transformation. Yours, ours, and the collective. Personal and professional for practitioners. But not just any transformation. Compassionate transformation. Because between the two of us, we have seemed to have done things the painful way. Let our pitfalls become your stepping stones. We aren't afraid to share our raw and vulnerable truths in order to help you transform your thinking, your body, your heart, and your soul. Combining 15 years of functional medicine with brain-based habit change to lead you to the best life possible in a compassionate way. Compassion, yes, yet plan to roll up your sleeves. Transformation requires your participation. And a quick reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor, not this doctor, before making changes. Now let's get into the episode. Hi everybody, this is Dr. Alex. I wanted to share this extra special podcast episode with you all. And this is a snippet of our last Coaches Connect call. Now, if you haven't been, our Coaches Connect meetups are a really exciting way to meet other leaders, providers, practitioners who are in this space and who want to make a massive impact in the world. And they want to help people actually execute on the transformations that they are asking for. So it's a really exciting group of people. If you haven't been joining us, welcome. We do it just about every month. And you can sign up by going to zestyginger.com/coachesconnect. The topic changes every single month, but this was a really popular one. And in fact, we are going to do a part 2. And it was called Dealing with Difficult Clients. And isn't that a bugaboo for most of us? So no matter what kind of practitioner or leader that you are, either at home or in your workplace or business, the stuff that we talked about here is really geared for helping people become the person that they want to become. Now, whether that's you or somebody else, the process is the same. But when we are dealing with difficult clients, we have to understand where our role and our part starts and stops, and why, understand the patterns and the reasons that people act the way they do. Once you have that information, clients are actually really easy to deal with. It's really not that complicated, long story short. But if you don't have the resources to do it, then it can seem really overwhelming, and it can seem really difficult, and it'll definitely seem really triggering because people will make you feel like, I'm not good at my job, they're hard to work with, ooh, this is a client I can't overcome. You're going to fill in the blanks, and none of that's going to be true, right? It's just people need help transforming. And sometimes that means helping them get out of their own way and stop creating roadblocks for themselves, even if those roadblocks include other people. So I really hope that you enjoy the portion of the call, but more importantly, I hope that you come to the next ones and join us and bring your friends, because the more people that we can get out in the world functioning from a place of powerful transformation, but done through a compassionate and loving lens to help people become who they say they want to be, that right there is going to change the world. And we're all wanting that, right? There's so much narrative around division and how hard things are and the struggle and all of that. And we can all either look around and complain more about that, or we could look around and say, well, then I'm going to be who I need to be to help this world. And that's really what we're doing all of this for. And so the more that we can get people to function in this way, and the more that we can step into our leadership, the faster this whole world can change for the better. And if that excites you, then come on over. So have a listen here, and then go to zestyginger.com/coachesconnect and definitely join us for the next one. All right, I'm sending you lots of love. On to the episode. But really, from Megan and I doing this for about a decade now together. And obviously I was an MD alone before, and she was doing her FDN thing before, is that a lot of the experiences that we have had with clients that would be labeled things like difficult or challenging really helped us refine exactly who we are, right? So what do I mean by that? When clients push us and they challenge us, they often are the living embodiment of perception as projection. And you all know what that is, right? So everything's a mirror to ourselves. And so difficult clients, just about 100% of the time, maybe people have red herrings, like maybe people don't, but a lot of the times the difficult things with clients are patterns that annoy the crap out of us about ourselves. And of course that is, hi there, hello Tessa, welcome. We're just setting the stage for talking about dealing with difficult clients, and we're sharing where we're all from. I'm in Texas as well. And so when we have these encounters with people who do mirror back to us, where we can shore up our identity, right? Who are we being, and are we living that congruently with our actions, with our thoughts, with the things that we choose to take, our behaviors toward, like the energy that we put towards certain behaviors, is then all actually really, really empowering for us. Like, it serves us a great deal to have clients that push us to see ourselves better. So there is real power in embracing and being resourced up for difficult clients, because once you kind of know what the game is, you can keep being the leader. And we're going to talk about that first part in just a second. But when you can keep being a leader, not only can you help get them to their result that they're looking for, but you also get to your result, because in embodying who you are more consciously, in a way that you are most proud of, at the end of the day, what do you go home with? All of that stuff then that sets the tone for the results that we get. So difficult clients, if we can see them as mirrors and as learning points, and the thing is, it's hard, right? Sometimes we just get real triggered. And I know a lot of you well enough to know that you've been there, is that it really can bring out some of our worst sides too, right? And so when we can flip that script on its head, what's cool about that is that the second that we change the projection in the mirror, as in we identify the pattern that we see in ourselves in our clients, then often that is the last client we have that's like that. And then you get the new one. And honestly, my clients, it has been such a blessing in that every single one accurately mirrors where I am. Every single one. If I'm actually paying attention and asking questions and eliciting, what Megan and I call data mining, to really see how are the concepts in their brain, the things that they're struggling with, how are they organized? How do they link things together? What do they make things mean? It always comes back to me. And because that's the case, if you don't like something, know that you can just change it. And that it will have deep, lasting and meaningful benefits for you in your life, which, hey, like, isn't that cool? So yes, we're going to talk about actual, like, practical things about dealing with difficult clients. And I want this to be as interactive as possible, because I want to use real life examples, right? I don't want to just talk in concepts here. We'll start out with that, but as we get more and more granular, I'm going to ask you to put things in the chat and tell me about some of the things that you're dealing with. Okay, so with difficult clients, let's start out with something that some of you that we work with have heard before on a group coaching call. But this applies so neatly here, and it's so very important that I want you to listen with fresh ears. And obviously, if you've not heard this before, yeah, you're absolutely welcome, Kylene. then just sit back, and just let it sink in for a minute. Because what are we really talking about here when dealing with difficult clients? Clients that feel difficult or challenging are essentially engaging, by your own admission, engaging in a power struggle with you. It's a power dynamic issue, right? Because either they will come out as the one on top or you will. And that is not from a winning or losing, because honestly, that doesn't even make sense. Like, I can't even create a narrative where that realistically plays out, but someone will walk away getting results or not. So just point blank, results are what we're talking about, outcomes, and the things that people are paying us for, are they getting the results? And that is, of course, not all us, but it is our main goal to get people the results that they say they want, and even a higher perspective, like a deeper version of what they say they want, right? More than they could even imagine. And then that's how it makes it a win-win-win. And I always talk about that: win for you, win for them, win for the world, right? So the higher the perspective, the bigger the win for everybody around. And honestly, in my opinion, a bigger win for the world. And I think we're all actively working on that. So with power dynamics, the reason that it comes up so hard in any sort of transformational work, and that is whether you're transforming their health, their relationships, their money, their education, it doesn't matter. Transformation includes change. And the reason that difficult clients come up in all of their different flavors is that essentially when they say, I want to change, then their brain says, okay, and it starts essentially creating the opportunities for them to change. What does that look like for a lot of us? Let's say I want peace. Life's going to serve me up 3 hours of traffic so that I can practice being peaceful, right? Like what is it? If I want to go to the gym, I go lift weights. And that's the same thing as a universal concept, right? When we say we want to change, we got to be intentional with our words, because life follows. And so it serves us up a lot of opportunities to practice being who we say we are. So that's happening for the client too. So that alone is creating discomfort for them, right? And then you are introducing new ways of doing things. So what is the brain designed to do? Keep you alive and do things efficiently, not unrelated, right? We don't want to learn how to drive new every day or brush our teeth every day. We just never get anything done. So our brains are efficiently wired to keep us where we're at. They're not really for our benefit for change, which is a little bit, we could argue, why is it like that? But really, it's, more important to keep us alive than write the book. So that's how it's set up. And so as we start to ask their brain to do things differently, think differently, emote differently, speak differently, even though that's take supplements or dry skin brush, it doesn't matter the flavor, that you are disrupting neural pathways in their brain that have been efficiently wired, and they're quite large, and they fire them off instantaneously, right? Those patterns that the negative patterns that Kylene was referring to, that client has large neural networks that hardwire those concepts together. And that's why it's so easy for her to fire them off, right? And so as the change happens, people feel the discomfort. So if physical symptoms are a conversation that our physical body is having with us about what's going on, then emotions are often the way that our body says, hey, I'm losing efficiency here. Something's going wrong. And often that looks like what we call a negative emotion: anxiety, depression, fear. I'm just uneasy, right? Your brain knows it's changing and it's letting you know. And that's where, as practitioners, we really have to help people hold the line on that. Otherwise, the first thing that everyone wants to do is go hightail back, right? You just want to go back to what's comfortable so that the brain says, "Ooh, good, you're using that familiar pathway. Nice job." We'll turn that anxiety right off. So then at that point, that's what happens, right? And so subconsciously, clients are always a little bit at odds with us because that is happening, right? It's like wrangling a crocodile, though I've never done that. I've seen videos and it just looks like a whole endeavor. And so when they feel the discomfort, you will find people's coping mechanisms. And what they will look like is running away, being difficult, arguing, accusing you, fighting with you, all of this stuff. You're not a good coach, right? They're trying to figure any way to relieve the discomfort. And most people will fire off whatever coping, either victim, blame, whatever. And so really what you're looking at when we get to the granular stuff of what we're talking about, there's really, that is all that it is. What we're talking about is all the different flavors of what their coping mechanisms look like. That's it, right? And so no matter what, if they say, let's say you have an hour-long call planned and you have content for an hour-long call and they get on, they're like, I have to get off after 30 minutes, right? It doesn't sound like much, but often that is their subconscious way to say, I'm going to undermine the session. Or a lot of people will develop a headache. You get to the part that you're like, this is the really important part that they really need to get. And they get the flu, they get a headache, they get diarrhea, whatever. Right? So a lot of stuff can happen. And that is their subconscious playing all this stuff out. You essentially are reminding them of their mom, their dad, whatever neural network that thing is attached to. And so that power struggle, if we see all of those as just symptoms of that, then we can really keep in mind that as we regain leadership and see them and ourselves from a higher perspective, then we help keep control of the situation. Not control over them, because we don't have control over people. Heck, we don't even have control over us half the time. But we do have control over the situation, right? And that's different. You may not like every moment with them, but you can have control intentionally over how you're guiding every single session. So that's why it's so important. And when you look at it that way, it's a lot less triggering for you. If you see that it's a neural network disruption and emotions flowing out of that, it's a lot easier to pick out that when they say your payment plan sucks or I can't log in, your stuff's not good, you're not going to take it personally. I mean, it's hard, especially in the beginning, to 0% take it personally, but it'll get easier and easier. And over time, it'll be like, oh, there's another one, we'll get in with them. All right, so that's the overall bigger picture. The reason we want to keep control over the situation is so that they stick it through long enough to get the results that they're after, right? That's the whole point of leadership. So it doesn't matter what shit they pull in the meantime. Our goal is to keep the eyes on the prize and get them to where they're going and help them as much as possible.
Thanks for coming out to hang with us on the podcast. It is our goal to transform the way women are treated in healthcare. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. We have a lofty goal of 1 million downloads. And we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more women, get more amazing speakers for you, and bring the most cutting-edge information.
If you found these podclasses helpful, please take a moment to text 5 women you know the link to the series. We appreciate your help so much. Can't wait to see you next time.